Don Bosco often had apparitions of the afterlife. One of his pupils, Joseph Perazzo, said, "My father's death saddened me very much, and I kept wishing to know of his state in the other world. Once, after confession, I asked Don Bosco to pray for my father. 'I have seen him,' Don Bosco replied. He then proceeded to describe him so minutely and accurately that I exclaimed, 'Yes, that's my father! That's the way he used to dress!' Well," Don Bosco went on, "he's still in purgatory. Pray for him, and soon he'll be in heaven." The amazing thing is that Don Bosco had never seen or known the boy's father in this life, but a far more frightening specter appeared to one of Don Bosco's parishioners around All Souls' Day in 1865. Its lesson is timeless, and he gave a chilling account of the event to his Oratory boys, resulting in one of the most remarkable goodnight talks in the school's history. The Miracles and Prophecies of St. John Bosco, a project of America Needs Fatima. I'm your host, Matthew Miller. Subscribe for new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Our saint told the story of the apparition. He began, "There lives in Turin with his elderly mother a 35-year-old widower who has 2 sons. Until recently, he was quite irreligious. As All Souls' Day was drawing near, his mother told him, 'Remember to pray for your dear father, now dead for several years.' 'The devil I will,' he shot back, nettled by her suggestion, which implied more than it said. 'If he's in hell or heaven, he doesn't need our prayers. If he's in purgatory, he will come out in due time.' Deeply hurt by his rudeness, the good woman didn't dare pursue the matter, fearing that he might use even more abusive language. Besides, in her timidness, she didn't dare antagonize the quick-tempered family breadwinner. That night, she thought she heard strange noises in her son's room, and the next morning, her curiosity aroused, she waited for him in the hall. When he finally came down to leave for work, he looked as if he had had a bad night. 'I thought I heard noises in your room last night,' she remarked. 'Noise?' he retorted. 'You women are very superstitious. You let priests cram your head with nonsense.' With that, he snatched his hat from the rack and bolted out the door. His mother was now convinced that something frightening had taken place. That night, her son looked worried and frightened as he retired at the usual time, for he had indeed heard strange noises the previous night and feared that worse might come. Though he was far from timid, he was determined not to be caught off guard. He therefore thoroughly searched his room and furniture and even looked under the bed to make sure there was nothing that could cause that frightening noise. After getting into bed, he first hesitated to lie down and sleep, but then, ashamed of his fears, he put out the light. His bed faced the window, outside of which a long balcony bathed in moonlight gave access to the other rooms. Presently, he heard a dragging of feet just like his father's when he walked about the house in his slippers. There was also the regular thump of his walking stick. As the steps drew nearer, he sprang up on his bed and stared wide-eyed at the balcony. At that moment, his father's shadow glided across the window. There could be no doubt about it. His clothes, his height, and his gait were well known to his son. The shadow passed on to the end of the balcony and then retraced its steps. The son was breathless as the familiar sound again approached his window, stopped in front of it, and then soundlessly walked through the closed sash into the room to pace to and fro at the foot of the bed. Thoroughly dumbfounded and bewildered, the son finally pulled himself together and stammered, "Dad, do you want anything?" Without a word, his father continued to pace back and forth. "Dad," his son repeated after a few moments, "do you need prayers?" "I need nothing," he feebly replied, staring at his son. "Why have you come then?" the son ventured to ask. "I came to tell you that it is about time you stopped scandalizing your children whose innocence you jealously safeguard. These luckless little ones have learned from you to curse, to despise the church and her ministers, and to lead sinful lives. I have come to tell you that God is tired of you. If you do not make amends, you will soon experience the severity of his punishments." With these words, the ghost turned to leave. "Dad!" the man exclaimed once more. The shadow turned around. "Make amends," he repeated. He then vanished. The following morning, that is, this morning, the good woman brought her son to my room and told me all this. The man was still dazed with fright. He confirmed the whole story and then made his confession. Afterward, his mother helped him home, for he could hardly hold himself up. Others met the mother and son as they were coming out. The tearful mother said to them, "Pray for this son of mine." In another good night talk, Don Bosco exclaimed, "Tomorrow offer Our Lady a fine gift. Give her a soul from Purgatory. Receive Holy Communion, gain a plenary indulgence, and ask Our Lady to free a soul of her choice from Purgatory." But now you may ask, what is a plenary indulgence? I'll explain. When you make a good confession and receive Holy Communion, a plenary indulgence will free you not only from sin, but also from the temporal penalty due to sin, the pains of purgatory. Go frequently to communion then. What a great fortune it is to be able at will to wipe out completely our debt to God. Thank you all so much for watching. God bless you, and Our Lady keep you.